believe they're still down in Florida, just enjoying time as a family. And we sent him a video after the game on Sunday night. It's on social media, so you can look it up. And then he sent us a nice one yesterday. But as far as I know, I think I don't think he's in any pain or anything. I think they're managing that, but just trying to enjoy as much time as a family that they can.
Can you talk about the impact he's had on his team?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly he impacts us every day. Whether it be the main thing is he helps us keep things in perspective. And whether it be losing a game or winning a game or having something bad happen during the course of a game, strikeout, me as the coach screwing something up, at the end of the day, it's really not that big a deal. One of our sayings is compared to what? How bad is it compared to, for example, what he's going through? So, but the biggest thing, he's just a big part of us. He's truly is a teammate. He's got a locker. Everybody, we think about him, we talk about him. He's in our daily conversation, so he's a part of us.
How did he become a special part of your team? I don't know the background.
The background is that he just, when I was coaching the USA national team the summer of 2013, I was actually in Japan. I got an email from a group called Team Impact, and we had been looking to be a little more centralized in our community service. We were kind of spread out. We were doing a little, a lot versus a lot, a little. Yeah. And I wanted to try and, not that I hate saying no to anything, but I really wanted to lock our players in more to something. So we responded to that, and we got involved with that program, and they paired us up with Micah. We met him that winter and their family for the first time, and then just developed a relationship, and then he eventually, we signed him to a national letter of intent for the 28 or something class, whatever class he is. And ever since then, he has free reign to come here anytime he wants. He walks right in the dugout anytime he wants, and their family's a part of ours.
And so he's become a real special member of your team.
Oh yeah, he is 100% a member of our team, 100%.
How impressive have you been with Lukin and the way he's played throughout the postseason?
Really, I mean, obviously no more impressed than the way he's been the whole season. He's really shown great presence, and the situation hasn't caused any special anxiety for him, or really for any of our freshmen. Josh Watson's done great. Feldman obviously was, I thought he was really calm and collected the other day. He got 6 straight outs without allowing a base runner. He had a couple 3-2 counts where, he could have walked a guy and maybe the thing gotten away from him a little bit. But Baker's, he's played such a high level of baseball for a long time. He was in the home run derby at the All-Star game, like the All-Star game in the big leagues. So, he's been in plenty of those situations, so I don't expect that to change.
Obviously, a year ago, Lukin was in a position where he could have been drafted. He sent that letter, everything's been made about that email. What does it say about a kid that knew what he wanted to do and is taking full advantage of what he's getting to do and wanted to do?
It's just, how goal-driven and purpose-driven he is. And his parents, he has a great family. And I also think it says a lot for college baseball. It's a great thing for college baseball. It's just not a great thing for TCU baseball. I hate to have great players be on the other side of the field, but it's great for college baseball for, guys to turn down money and go to Vanderbilt or Texas or A&M, wherever. It doesn't matter. We want to have the best players in college baseball, and we feel like the fastest path to the big leagues is through college baseball.
Do you have changed your approach to this after coming into the third time going up there? How do you look at what you have to do?
Well, I think that's part of that's what I was just talking to the team about. I think anytime you go and you don't win, you're thinking, what can I do to give ourselves a better chance to win? And we played really well last year. I think you can do everything right and still have the baseball gods, not look kindly on you. But I'm evaluating those things all the time. And as of right now, we don't have any serious plans to change anything. I'd like to find ways to have our team be more together, And one thing I just told them, and I tell every team, is before you get to Omaha, all of your challenges are inside the stadium. Whether it's playing at home and the pressure that causes to win at home, or whether it's going on the road like we did this past week, the pressure is inside the stadium. In Omaha, there's 30,000 people, but you only get 700 tickets. So there's only about 700 to 1,000 rooting for you or against you. The challenges are outside the field of play, because you got people, hey, where can I get a ticket? There's people pulling on you all the time. Hey, make sure you buy me a T-shirt, or you want to go see and do 1,000 things. So as a coach, you want to give yourself the best chance to win, but you also don't want to take away from the experience for the players. And so I just challenge them to, on days that we're a baseball that we need to do baseball, I need you to be a baseball player on a day that we're off, like Saturday. We'll practice in the morning, and then the rest of the day is there. They don't have to think about baseball. They can go and watch the other games, go do all the shopping they want to do, and then be ready to go on Sunday.
Jim, are you at a place now, if you don't win it, are you pissed?
Sure. Yeah. Because there's nothing. Even last year when we were within a game or two of playing the championship series, and I came home and it made me sick to my stomach to watch it, because you just don't know when the next time you're gonna get to go is. Even though we've been 3 straight years, and it's another thing I just said to those guys, and I'm pretty sure I'm accurate on this. Nolan Ryan went to a series in his first year in the big leagues, right? 69 Mets, never went back. And I promise you, I've never asked him this question, but I promise you he pretty much expected to go back and never did again. And so even though we've been 4 of the last 7 years, there's no guarantee to get back there, because it's so hard to do. So we're going up there to win, but I know some schools out there that go up there and they try and keep the kids in the hotel all day, and they're practicing, they're lifting weights at 6 in the morning and trying to keep a lockdown on them, and that's just not how we operate. That would be a big change of routine for us, so we're not going to do that. But we'll find a happy medium.
Did you used to do that on your first?
I didn't. No, I didn't, because our first trip, I called Coach Bertman, and I talked to Augie, and I talked to guys that had been there 1,000 times, and I had been there as an assistant coach in 2001, but in terms of being the head coach and being responsible for those decisions, I sought counsel on that and still do, but we've never done it that way.
With the roster transition from last year to this year, does this trip mean anything more, or is that, did you really expect that this was going to happen?
You can't say that you'd expect it to happen. I thought we were talented enough if we played well at the right time, like any team. But if you'd have told me before the season, Traver's not going to pitch for the first 12 weeks, and Nolan Brown is going to redshirt, and Luke and Baker's going to go down halfway through, I would say, no. But so yeah, where I find gratification is in the players. So for Luke to get a chance to have that experience, for Dane Steinhagen senior year, a guy like if Brian Howard were to sign a pro contract after this year, he would be in college for 3 years and be a 3 College World Series. That's pretty special.
Is this team playing its best right now? You talked about you want your team playing its best at the end of the year. So.
Yeah, I think so. We're pitching. I judge how we're playing by how we pitch and play defense, because the hitting to me is going to come and go, depending, because you're facing such great pitching all the time. But how we pitch and play defense, and I think we didn't make any errors in the regional. And they judged 1 the other night, which was iffy, but I know we made less than 2 or 3 in the super regional, and our starting pitching was really good. So
You got Tech coming up. You've played them before. How do you guys? How different is the team, and how do you approach that game?
Well, one of the it's awesome to have conference teams up there, and it'd be nice to not play them at least until the championship game. But it is what it is. The best part about that for us and them, I think, is it's a lot less time we have to spend, scouting reports and watching video and all that kind of stuff. We don't even have to. We can focus our efforts more on Coastal Carolina and Florida, the other 2 teams in our bracket. So, we had a chance to watch Tech play in the conference tournament. Of course, we played them 3 times. We watched them play early in the season. We were in the same tournament in Houston. So, there's nothing that's going to be hidden that I know of between the 2 teams.
Jim, West Virginia was one of the first teams to be left out, and considering all 3 Big 12 teams made it to Omaha, is that a pretty good indication that maybe they should have been in?
Yeah, not maybe. They definitely should have been in by their performance on the field of play, especially in the last 25 games of the season. I understand the RPI, and I understand, and I'm sure Coach Mazey, if he had it to do over again, there's some teams on their schedule that he wouldn't have had. But at the end of the day, especially considering what part of the country you're in, you can only play who you can find to play, and some of those things are out of your control. But they're definitely deserving of being in.
What to say about the conference, that there's 3 teams from the Big 12?
We've talked about our conference all year long, and especially the top half of it being as talented as anybody in the country. I think the depth of our league could get better, and some of that is on the entire league itself. We have to win more games non-conference, but there's no doubt that we knew TCU, Oklahoma State, Tech, West Virginia, on any given day, Oklahoma or Texas, they're going to beat anybody in any league. So it shows itself up on the field of play. That's why you play the games.
Coach, you were disappointed after the Tech series. I know
In fact, you even said the pitchers weren't respecting the strike throwing tradition here. What changed?
I don't know. I mean, you have to ask Kirk, because they've had it shoved down their throat. I think for Janzik, it was just repetition and being out there on the mound and believing in his stuff, and us constantly telling him, hey man, you got a chance to be a superstar. Challenge those hitters, And I know that Kirk did a really good job in the Super Regional and of challenging the pitchers and saying, hey, when you're facing a great offensive club like A&M was or is. When we were watching scouting reports, people were very timid in how they pitched them, And what they ended up happening when you do that is all of a sudden they're in a lot of hitters' counts. It's 2-0, 3-1 all the time. And we just decided, hey, if we go down, we're going down the way we pitch. And we're going to throw strike one, and we're going to challenge them to swing the bat early in the count and try and put them on the defensive if possible. And I honestly feel like that happened.
Jim, looking back on those 3 previous teams, have you had any one of those and said, that's the one that should have won?
Probably last year, because the pitching is just so elite, because we could pitch with anybody. Even if you said, well, you could take a perfect team, last year's pitching and this year's offense, I don't even know if that would get it done because the pitching you're facing is so high end. You have to be able to pitch with those teams most of the time. So the fact that we had 4 guys in the first couple rounds, and then Morrison and Tico, who were as good as those guys or better, that was probably the team where, man, if we could have just scored one more run, or honestly, if it wouldn't have rained out Thomas Eshelman from Fullerton against Vanderbilt, we may have never played Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt was losing before the rain, and they would have lost that game. And so, and those kind of things, a lot of things. It's tournament baseball. It's like any other. It's like a high school tournament. Different things happen. You got so many SEC teams that were supposed to be in it, and now there's only one. Maybe that, I don't know if that makes it harder or easier. We'll see. But just it's tournament. It's a tournament. It's like the basketball tournament. Crazy stuff can happen.
The 3 Big 12 teams that won Super Regionals, in the 6 games that they won, I freed up. They allowed 6 total runs. The opposing hitters hit 0.80.
Wow.
Those 3 teams that are up there, were they the best pitching staffs in the Big 12 this year, pretty much, you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. I think you probably look at the numbers, I think they are for sure. And this wasn't a great year in the Big 12, relatively speaking, in terms of staff ERAs and that kind of thing. We weren't real fired up about how we were pitching, and we led the league in ERA. So yeah, but you got guys like Thomas Hatch at Oklahoma State, and now they put Buffett in the rotation. He's a superstar, and the young guys for Tech, and then they have the 2 veterans in the bullpen, and we love our guys. So yeah, I think we'll be able to go there and pitch with anybody. It's just a matter of whether we play defense and get a timely hit.
Coach, what do you think about having made this a baseball school?
I'm pretty proud of that. My number one goal when I took this job was to try and build a baseball program that was relevant in the community. It wasn't to win a national championship. It was, I think that'll be a byproduct. And where I gain my pride in this baseball program is when we had 7,000 people here against Tech, or when people can't get a seat, and they start complaining about when we win 39 games and everybody's really upset in the regular season, And those are, I don't like hearing that, but it's, when you raise the bar and people care, especially at a private school with not a huge alumni base, those are the things I'm happiest about.
Do you think coaches around the country are pulling for you personally because of the way they know you and the impact you've had?
I don't know about that. Some guys are and some guys aren't. I haven't received a congratulatory text from 300 schools, so. No, I'm sure there are some that are rooting for us. There are some that we recruit against. I'm sure it'd make a heck of a lot easier if we weren't there.
What's the value in the exposure you get from playing on ESPN? This weekend, win or lose, you were still on ESPN.
Yeah, just being on national television is phenomenal, and the effect that has on recruiting. We had I can't give you his name because he hasn't signed a letter of intent yet, but we have a commitment for the 2017 class who's a great player on the West Coast, and he committed to us the first time he ever came here, and I said, man, you have all these great schools, UCLA and Stanford and Fullerton, all these awesome baseball. He goes, Coach, all I've ever wanted to do since I saw Matt Perk with his hat crooked is play for TCU. That's all I've ever wanted to do. So, that's the impact that it can have, at least from a recruiting standpoint.
You said the offense is better this year, but you guys still keep that pressure on. I think the A&M game, the big inning there late.
Yeah.
you know, it seemed like they kind of cracked them a little bit, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think we do a good job of. Coach Mosiello's done a phenomenal job of instilling some strike zone discipline in our program, and so we don't chase. You know, where we got frustrated the other night is I thought the strike zone was very generous, and we took advantage of that as a pitching staff. But offensively, there's some pitches that, you know, when we get to Omaha, you know, if you don't chase those power breaking balls off the plate or the 96-mile-an-hour fastball that's 3 inches off, and you can get in some hitters' counts, it gives you a better chance to hit. So we're as good as anybody, and I think if you read those scouting reports that, like Baseball America and some of those other programs, some of those other websites put up on us, and that's what the other coaches say.
What? Tell me a little bit more about Jared and the start Friday night. Why'd you pick him? He was a little bit of a surprise starter.
Yeah, surprise to you, not to us though. I mean, we felt like he was the perfect fit for the way he pitches and for what we wanted to do against A&M, and we honestly felt Traver wasn't the best fit, and we thought Howard would be able to do a lot of the same things that Janzik did, and that's, you know, throw his breaking ball away from those right-handed hitters, keep him off balance, run his fastball in on him when we needed to. Mitchell's more of a power guy versus, you know, those guys will throw in the low 90s, but they're more of a finesse and breaking ball pitchers than Mitchell is. So we felt like he was the way he's pitched in the last couple of weeks, he was going to be as perfect a fit as anybody.
What did it mean to you that the school approached to you about an extension on your contract last week?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, it's great. You know, I work for a chancellor and an athletic director that are proactive, not reactive. You know, and that's one of the best things about being here is that they reward success. You know, I've never asked for a raise, or I've never have asked for a contract extension 1 second since I've been here. I just always said, you know, pay us what you reward us with when we succeed, whether it be doing something to the stadium or you know, personally. And I've had 3 ADs that have been great, but Chris is the best, no doubt about it, especially in that area of rewarding success. And he does that with all of our sports.